This cute ball of fur is Diego, and we just wrapped up our session here in Woodland Hills. This is Diego's roadmap to success. So we're going to go over a couple of the basic, and these are basic problems that a lot of people have with new puppies. The first thing we talked about was mouthing and nipping. Now, most people don't realize that dogs on average will sleep 17 hours a day. So what I have found is when puppies get really cranky and they need a nap, a lot of times they get very mouthy. They will latch on to, yes, I know you want to go, but we need you on camera just for a second, buddy. They'll latch on to your arm. Now, we call this mouthing. Nipping is more of a quick little deal. So if he mouths you, that's probably a good indicator. I see what you're talking about is vibrating foot right there. And that's just, like I said, I wouldn't worry about that. If it happens a lot, this is his front right paw. If it happens a lot, then just keep an eye on it, ask your vet about it. But I would assume this is just kind of a growth thing and kind of a muscle getting used to being used. Yes, I know, it's tough. All right, so for the mouthing and nipping, if he gets really mouthy, consider how long has it been since he's had a nap. It's probably probably a safe bet that he needs a nap. So it's time to put him in his little puppy play area or put him in a room and walk away so that he might whimper a little bit, but eventually he'll settle down and take himself a nap. Now, if he doesn't do, the other thing that I do sometimes is I'll go, let's see if he'll do it here. Oh, yes, yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, he's a good little puppy. You're not going to do it because now we're filming. But as soon as his teeth touch me, I would yelp like that and then pull back and freeze for a second. Wait for him. If he freezes with you, then he's in on it. He understands that you're communicating. That was too much. Now, I do it any time that teeth touch me, even if it's just an accident, even if it's just a mild little one, because I want him to understand and learn bite inhibition. So if he starts bouncing around and he doesn't freeze when you yelp, make sure it's a high-pitched yelp. I mean, that wasn't the best yelp. I more of a, ah! You see how I got the freeze from him. Now, if I don't get the freeze, if he keeps on jumping around, then he's really rambunctious. Then what I do at that point is I would be carrying around either an antler, a nylabone, or like a bully stick. Probably more the antler or nylabone, though, because bully stick's more of a higher value chew item. What I would do is I pull it out and I would tap him here, tap him here, tap him here, tap him all around. Now, right now, he wants to get down and play with his little buddy Pinky, but we need you on camera for this. But tap him and get him chasing it after the stick or the nylabone or whatever it is. When he finally grabs it, let him pull it back and forth and let him pull it away from you. So he feels like he won. Then he'll take the item and walk away and go chew on it. So immediately pick up another nylabone or antler and put it back in your back pocket so you always have one with you. Redirecting puppies is a big part of how we can help them learn to do the right things. Another chew object that I like to use are carrots. Carrots are great because they ward off a type of cancer when the dogs get them on a regular basis, but they're also great for, they're very dense, so it's great chewing for them. They can ingest it. And in about a month, Diego's going to start teething when he hits about 5 months or so, 4 or 5 months. And so when he does that, usually puppies will start licking something first before they start chewing it. So if you see that Diego starts to lick the couch or wherever it is, then we basically, what I would do, well, first of all, what I would do is get shredded carrots and put a couple pieces of shredded carrots in with his food so that he gets used to chewing on and eating these carrots. Most dogs take to him right away. If he does, then I would get baby carrots, and every once in a while let him chew on a baby carrot just for no reason, just to get him used to it. Then when he's licking the furniture or something, some carpet or some wood or something, usually when they lick, it's a precursor to chewing. So when he starts licking it, go to the freezer where you've transferred the baby carrots, pull them out, rinse about 3 or 4, rinse off the hard frost, and if he's chewing on it facing this way, I would tap the floor over here behind it. Once he turns around, drop the carrots on the floor, and then let him chew on them. So now he's turned away from whatever it was he was chewing on, and he will lay down and chew those out of sight, out of mind for puppies, and we gave him something appropriate to chew on. Now, I always tell my clients, you can decide what your puppy's going to chew on, or your puppy can decide, and puppies have more expensive taste. So what I do is I would suggest going into Amazon or a pet store, it's fine, but you want to get an assortment of toys. You want to get pull toys, like little ropes that they can play tug-of-war with. You want to get squeaky toys that make a squeak sound when you squeak them. You want to get some plush toys, and those are nice, soft, furry things that they can pull around. They also have stuffless toys, which my dog really liked. He had a duck that he really liked for that. And then you can also get, because he's a hunting dog, he should get some balls. So you can get some regular tennis balls, and then you can get like like a Kong ball or some things like that. I also like to have food dispensing toys. A lot of people think of the Kong for this. There's a Buddy Cube, I think is what it's called. Yes, I know, we're almost done, buddy. Oh, yes. Yes. Okay, so let me see. I have a post on Quest Ed, which is doggoneproblems.com/QuestEd, where I'm doing my shirt, buddy. Basically, I fed my dog out of treat dispensing toys for the first couple of months of his life. This makes him much more interested in treats or in toys because they dispense food, and that's where I fed him out of his all of his kibble for the first couple of months of his life. After a couple months, yes, I know, we're almost done, buddy. After a couple months, then I would transition over to a bowl. All right, we'll let you get down. Now, what I would do for those is I redress. When I put him in 3 or 4 of these treat dispensing toys. One of them's a ball, he's got a nudge. One looks like a dumbbell, he had to flip end over end to get the food to come out. But after doing this, then he becomes much more interested in his toys. This is why I was telling the Guardian to make sure we pick up anything that's inappropriate that we don't want him to chew on. We don't want him to start chewing on empty water bottles and things like that, because he can't tell the difference between an empty water bottle and the ones filled with cleaning solution that might be toxic or poisonous to him. Same with an old shoe versus a new shoe. He can't tell the difference. So we only want to give him access to appropriate chew toys, and some of the chew toys food comes out of. So this makes him much more interested in engaging with these for the rest of his life. A ball is definitely something we need to get him interested in. It should be in his DNA. He should be down with it right away. But a fetch is a great way to burn energy. A walk is great for leadership, and we should definitely walk our dogs. But if we want to burn off some excess energy, we can get a chucker and go out in the backyard and throw the ball 40 times in 10 minutes. That really will take a lot more energy out of them than going for like a half an hour walk where we're just walking, because they do things so much faster than we do. I also would like the Guardian to practice what I call passive training. So every time that Diego comes to her, she's going to pet him and say the word here. Every time he sits down near her, she's going to pet him, preferably under the chin, so he has a nose up orientation. That's a proud dog, has his nose in the air. And we're going to say the word here. Let's see if we can get a sit out of you, buddy. Sit. I bet you if I have a treat, we can do it. Nope. And make sure that we bring the treat back to his nose. Sit. So the second that he sits down, I'm going to pop that treat in his mouth, and we're going to say whatever the command word is. We'll see if we can get him to do a chill now. So again, go back to his nose if he goes away. And as soon as he gets up out of a sit, then we take the treat away. So now he's got to go back to his sit. Now he just learned sit down and chill like 15 minutes ago. So this is going to be something that's going to take him a lot of practice. The here exercise, make sure we use our hand like this, because you can see how he's tracking me if we film him a little bit. He's looking at my hand because it looks like I have a treat in it. So keep my fingers curled and slightly above his nose. And then once he comes to us, when he comes to me, if he doesn't sit on his own, I go over his head to put him into a sit. As soon as he sits, then I lower it, let him lick it off my hand, and I'm going to say the word here, not sit. Because here is a more difficult word. You can go back up to me. Here is a more difficult command than the sit. Right, buddy? Yes. We'll put you up here for the remainder of it. Oh, now you want to get back up, huh? One thing we're not going to do is we're not going to pet him when he does things we don't like. So if he jumps up on us, we are immediately going to stop petting him, because if we don't, then that teaches him the way to pet me is to jump up on humans. Now, the other thing I would do is he doesn't have a shot, so anywhere we take him that he walks, anywhere where the other dogs are, we're going to wipe off the bottom of his paws with some Purell. But I would really like to see the Guardian take him to Home Depot or Lowe's, which are both dog-friendly stores, but you won't see too many dogs there. When you go there, I would have some treats, and when people want to pet him, say, well, they say, can I pet him? Would you like to give him a treat? One up them. And people are, I'd love to give him a treat. So what I do is I hold my hand, I go over his head, put him in a sit, lower it, let him lick it off my hand. And I always tickle under the chin. When I do that, I say the word sit the same second it goes into his mouth. Then I would hand another treat to the person next that wants to pet him. And most of the time they will mimic and do the same thing that you do. Now the one thing they don't do is once the dog sits, they're like, oh, look, he's sat, look, he's sitting. No, dummy, give the dog the treat as soon as possible. You want to correct or reward a dog within 3 seconds for them to make the connection. So I guess you shouldn't call people dummies because they're trying to help you with your dog. But basically, just if they don't give the dog the treat right away, as soon as the dog sits, say the word sit for them, and then encourage the person. Oh, give them the treat right away, please. And then and they'll say good dog and good boy. That's okay. Those things aren't bad, but they don't help our dog. We want to use passive training. So every time he sits, we pet him and say the word sit. Every time he sits at a store with somebody with a treat, when they give him the treat, we say the word sit. If we do this enough, we'll teach him what we call learning how to demand, which means I can go and sit in front of a human and I'll get something out of it. And it's a great way to have people think you have an amazingly well-trained dog, because your dog just basically goes up in front of people and says, I'm sitting, sucker, where's my treat? Now, they don't necessarily know that. People will be like, oh, what a well-trained dog. So passive training is something that's really, really important. Or not important, but very, very easy and very beneficial. It's probably the easiest thing that you could possibly do that will have the biggest impact to your dog. It'll take the guardian a week or two to get in the habit of it, but every time he sits down next to her, within 3 seconds, pet him and say sit. Every time he lays down, pet him and say down. Potty training. Let's talk about potty training. The 3 times that the puppy is most apt to go potty is right after they wake up, about 15 minutes after the start of heavy playtime, and about 5 minutes after they eat. So after those 3 things, we want to immediately take them outside. Now, I use the command word business. You can use any word you want, but it should be a one-word command. A lot of people I see, what's your dog's command to go outside and go potty? They're like, go make a potty. That's way too many words. Just one word. So the way we do it, as soon as we see the dog starting, we say the word business or potty or whatever the word is. Now, if they're going to potty, they usually typically kind of walk over the same area. They're sniffing the ground, doing kind of circles. As soon as the dog starts to pee or poop, we say the same command word for both. Then we say business in a normal tone of voice. Don't say it too excitedly because you'll stop the dog from evacuating their bladder. As soon as they get done, then we basically crouch down into like a softball player's position. I would have a high-value training treat with me, and then I pop it in the dog's mouth again within 3 seconds of it finishing, and then I pet it and say the word business or whatever the word is at the same second the treat touches his mouth. And then I pet him for like a minute or two as well. Now, a little trick that I didn't go over with the guardian, but that a lot of people get frustrated when their dog pees and potties everywhere. What you can do is take your dog to the area you want them to potty at those times that he's going to be most apt to want to go. And then if he goes within a 5-foot radius of the edge of the yard, it should be far away from your door, then we give him 5 treats. Business, 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 business. So we want the dog to be like, holy cow, what did I do? If I just poop over here, I get 5 of the best treats I've ever had? Well, then I'm going to start peeing over and pooping over here. Now, once you start doing it for the first week, I would take them there to the spot that you want to go. A lot of people I would like to do it on the leash. Unless your dog's pulling on the leash, dogs have an opposition reflex, so we don't want to pull a leash for a puppy too soon because that'll create an automatic resistance to it. But if we can take him over to the area, give him the area of the leash to pee and poop. If he does it there, he gets 5 treats. If he does it close to there, he might get 4 treats. If he does it in the middle of the yard, he gets 3 treats. If he does it just anywhere in the yard, he gets 1 treat. So we're giving him more of an incentive to go and do it where you want him to go, right? It's like, yes, please don't poop, because the poops are going to be bigger than I am. Quality food. We're feeding some food from Costco right now. I would like to see a higher quality food. I like to feed my puppy, I believe right now, Acana Puppy, A-C-A-N-A. There's another one that is Origin, O-R-J-I-N, I believe, or O-R-J-E-N. I can't remember the spelling. Those are really high-value quality foods. And the better quality food you feed your dog, the less poop that will come out of it. Now, when reading a food label, the quantity of the food should be listed in the label in the proportion that it is in the bag. So if it's lamb and rice, the very first thing you see listed should be lamb or rice. If it says lamb meal, that's like the parts of the animal that we don't particularly like to eat, like the anus and the eyeballs and stuff like that. So those would be areas where that would be a brand that I would probably not want to use. Also avoid foods that have a lot of wheat and grain in them. Those are cheap fillers that typically give your dog gaps. Now, I talked a little bit about getting appropriate chew toys. Ingestible toys are also important for dogs to have. These are more that we give. These are higher value items. So I might get like a cow's ear. The Guardian already has a pig's hoof or a pig's snout, I think. But we can also give a trachea, chicken's feet. They sound nasty to us, but for dogs, they're good. And the last thing I want to go over is the prevention of resource guarding, which is a very dangerous situation that some dogs get, where they get extremely aggressive over a person, a place, an object. A lot of times it occurs in food. Now, if he is eating food and Pinky approaches while he's eating, it's appropriate for him to growl. That's a way of saying back off. To be within 10 feet of a dog who's eating is very rude for another dog to be that close. So I would make sure the dogs are not lingering near one another when one of them are eating. I would feed them one at a time. But the thing that I would like the guardian to do is get some marrow bones. These are going to be frozen. I would like 1/2 inch or 1 inch marrow bones. If I hold on to it, it's mine. If I give it to the dog, it's the dog's. If I hold it, it's ours. So what I'm going to do is hold it here. It's going to be frozen. Let the dog chew on it. It's going to lick on it. It's going to want to take it away. Just keep on holding it. While I'm holding it, I'm going to start petting the dog here at the end of the ribs. For the first one, maybe I'm just doing this, and I'm holding it here until he's gotten all the marrow out. Sometimes you have to push the marrow on one side or the other. After I've done that for a couple marrow bones, then I'm going to start getting a little bit further and further. Eventually, I'm going to get up to here. Now, for my puppy, once I got to petting him under his chin, he started growling. Now, he kept on chewing it, but he kept on growling. Now, what I did is keep on doing that so that he understands, and every once in a while, I would pull it away, wait a second, and immediately go back to letting him chew on it. This way he understands that sometimes the humans are going to take things away, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to take them for wrong. And because the human held on to it, I maintained ownership of it. I was able to do it, and then I brought it back to the dog. After I'd done that for about a week, maybe about 7 to 10 marrow bones, I would start off by letting the dog chew it. Then I would go over with a high-value meat treat. And now, by the time I'm doing this, I can get to the point where I can pet him here while he's chewing on it and he's not growling. Then I want to get to the point where after about half of it, then I let the dog have it for a little while. Then I go over and I hold the treat out in front of their nose. As soon as they drop it, we pop it in their mouth and say the word drop. And then we walk away and let him have the bone again. Sometimes I'll do that where I'll pull it away, give him a treat while with my other hand, and then come back and give him the marrow bone again. So sometimes that's kind of a way to bridge that. For a lot of dogs, once they take it away, they will not drop it because it's a high value item. That's why we want to practice the drop. So when the dog has what we call low value items, chew toys that he's allowed to have at any point, we let him have that chew toy. And then when he's get a good chew going on, walk over, hold a treat against his nose, a high value treat with a strong smell. As soon as he drops the object, we put the treat in his mouth and we say drop, and then he gets back to getting the object. We do this with low value items, so when he does steal some underwear or something that you don't want him to have, and you go over there very casually with the pill, with the treat, and hold it up, he's like, oh, this is the deal where I drop the item, I get something, and I get my item back? This is one of those rare times you take the item away. Now, if you're taking the item away a lot, make sure you replace it with something of equal or higher value, like a bully stick or something like that, so that he doesn't say, oh, if I have one of her shoes, I'm not going to get it back. So you could have the shoe and I get a bully stick, okay, deal. So for bully sticks, try to get like some 6-inch long bully sticks or bully bits, which are kind of usually the tips. And for him as a puppy, the bully bits are going to be fine. Eventually we can transition to 6-inch ones and then the longer ones. But those are better than rawhides, which are washed in bleach and ammonia, and I'm just not a big fan of those. Let me see, one last thing, we have a pool here. My puppy, I took him to somebody's house. The client had a Maltese about this size, and it didn't know how to play. So I'm like, oh, puppy energy would be perfect. Brought him over, he fell in the pool within about 3 seconds. Now, some people will freak out. I had read a case study about a dog that had jumped in a pool this way, and the guardian walked over the pool, and it was nighttime. It was actually a Dalmatian puppy. She just walked over the pool, splashed the pool, and called the dog's name. The dog swam over. She lifted it up, didn't make a big deal out of it. After that, the dog was fine with the pool. Would jump in, jump out, because she didn't make a big deal out of it. I've seen some people, the dog gets in, they swoop it under like, oh, my little puppy, are you okay? You almost died. Make a big deal out of it. Now the dog will act traumatized when it's in there. So dogs are very much a mirror of ourselves. If we're nice and calm, they're going to stay nice and calm. So make sure that we're a good leader for them. All right, well, we started off with one dog and we ended up with a Pinky, but that's all right. This is the roadmap to success for Diego, and Pinky, you're going to have a good buddy there. For Pinky, let's look into getting him some Cosequin, or her some Cosequin. You can get it on at most, I get it at Walmart. You can also get it online at Amazon and a lot of different places. It's glucosamine or a glucosamine supplement. You don't have to get Cosequin. There are a lot of different brands out there, but it should help with her joints. And again, for her, she's she could be on her summer diet. So let's get a green bean or two and start taking away 10% of her food and filling it up with a chopped up fresh green bean or two to help her feel fuller and take off some of this weight, right? Because you're going to live longer and you're going to be more mobile with it. All right, this is the roadmap to success for Diego. Remember, everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.